Before this video starts, I think it's necessary I do a small content warning. This video contains a lot of hard subjects like suicide and death, and if that's a sensitive topic for you, maybe potentially don't watch this video. But anyone in that boat, I think, has something to gain from watching this video, just from the content of this video alone. I think it's very beneficial. But with that being said, here's the video. So this video here that I'm recording just now, I don't know the purpose of it, but it's basically just a collection of thoughts that I've had in the past couple hours, days, whatever. And I thought it would be good to document them and share them. You know, a lot of people ask me, how do I become who I want to be? Right? Not many people are satisfied with themselves. They're not. Not many people are. Most people don't like who they are. And, you know, obviously it's not a good thing. But for me, you know, before I started anything, one of the things I do is I'd think exactly this. I'd say, who do I want to be? Right? I'd close my eyes, and you know, you can close your eyes too if you like, but I'd close my eyes and imagine the perfect version of myself. You know, the version of myself where I never made excuses. The version of myself, you know, perfect version of yourself, obviously, right? And I would think, okay, what exactly would they do right now? If they were replacing me in this very second, what would they do? Right? There's a couple times when maybe I was on a road trip and I was like, I don't want to scroll my phone. What can I do? You know, it's maybe going to be beneficial, and I do that, right? And I did that before I learned how options work, like trading options. I learned all these strategies to options. You know, I don't completely entirely remember them, but like that's just an example. But I think that's a great place to start. You know, I think it's a great place to start. And also, I was talking to my uncle, right? He's very widely successful, and didn't have much when he was growing up, and he wants his kids to be hungry and have drive and work hard and do all these things. And he's like, I want them to be like you, Boston. You have drive. But, you know, he gives them so many things because he didn't have much when he was growing up. And I think with, you know, everything being provided, they have no reason to have drive, to work, to try to excel. You know, they're only just being pushed. And you can't push somebody to the top. You can't. You can push your friends to work hard. You can push your friends. You can give them advice. You can say, man, let's fucking do this shit. But man, I'll tell you firsthand, if they don't want it, they fucking won't do it. I've had friends who I've been great friends with that I want to be successful. I want them to be successful. But, you know, just like how you can't force the water to you know, drink the stream or whatever, even though you guide them there, you can't. And I had a buddy that I pushed really fucking hard. I just started my journey of entrepreneurship, and I was working hard, and I was working very hard every day. But one of the things, he never did anything. He never actually wanted it. He never wanted it as much as I did. Whenever I tried to push him, it was always an excuse. This guy would never even come to school. He'd come to school maybe 2 or 3 weeks worth of the entire school year. Never fucking showed up to school. I asked him, man, you gotta at least fucking come to school. You gotta at least fucking come to school. And it was always excuses. He's like, oh, I think I have this medical thing where I can't go, I sleep through my alarm every single time. I can't. And that made me so angry. What the fuck do you mean you can't? You can. You're deciding not to. It's because you don't fucking want to. And, that it made me so fucking angry. It made me so angry. Because I wanted more than anybody for this guy to fucking win. You love your friends. You want them to fucking win. You want them to be successful and be great. But man, when I tell you, I don't know where any of you guys are on your journey, there's going to be a moment. This already happened for me. But I just stopped giving a fuck about him. I couldn't care. He was disgusting to me because he would not fucking try. He could not try or work hard for anything. Even with me fucking pushing him. I mean, I don't know if anyone's watching this video that understands me, but I will push you hard. I will. Because I want all my friends to be successful. I do. But will they all be successful? No. And it doesn't matter if I push them. It's up to fucking them to do that. Surrounding yourself with hungry people will obviously help you. But if you decide to fucking do something, it's entirely up to you. Nobody else is going to make you get to the finish line. But I'll tell you something else as well. Nobody is going to fucking stop you from getting to the finish line. And I think that's a good quote, No one's gonna stop you except for yourself. And I think there's a lesson in there somewhere, but eventually I stopped giving a fuck about it, man. Like I said, it was disgusting to me. I couldn't even fucking fathom talking to him. Such a fucking loser. Somebody who couldn't even fucking try. Who didn't even want to bother to fucking try. I hated it. So I blocked him. I didn't want to fucking talk to him. I didn't want to talk to a fucking loser that didn't even bother to fucking try. After being fucking pushed so hard every day. Nothing at all. And I think some people are born and conditioned to push, and some won't ever. Like I said, a lot of my uncle's kids, he supports them so much and gives them so much stuff, they don't have a fucking reason to be hungry and drive. They don't have any drive. Because if they want something, they ask for it and then they get it. That's the end. And when I was talking to him about this, it made me think, okay, why am I the way that I am? Why am I the way that I am? Why am I so hungry? Why do I decide to be who I want to be? It's because when I was younger, if I wanted something, if I really wanted something, I had to do it myself. My parents weren't going to give it to me. I had to do it my fucking self. When I was younger and I was in elementary school, everybody played Fortnite, Minecraft, whatever the fuck, man. Everyone had an Xbox or an Xbox 360. You know, I remember that. You know, I was in like younger elementary school. Maybe I was in first or second grade. One of my buddies had an Xbox 360. I'd hang out with him because he had an Xbox 360, simply just because I wanted to play. But my parents were never gonna buy me that shit, man. Never. But what I'm saying is, you know, when I was in 5th or 6th grade, it was Fortnite. 2018, 2017, Fortnite. That was the thing. I couldn't play Fortnite. I didn't have an Xbox. I didn't have a PlayStation. I didn't have a computer. I can't play on my phone. At least I don't think you could have played on your phone at that time. You know, yeah, whatever. But anyways, I had to figure out how to get a computer. Because I see all my buddies playing this game. Oh, it's so fun. Or like, it might have been Minecraft as well. Or I would watch YouTube and I'd see all these YouTubers playing all these games. You need a computer to play the games. So then, I think that gave me a lot of hunger to do shit. You know, if I wanted something, I had to go do it my fucking self, right? So, from that, you know, I talked to my dad, and my dad's like, here's some things you can do to make money. I'm not going to give you money. You have to earn it, right? And I think that's something that's beneficial. I think my uncle could have done. But, you know, when you're living your life and you never could have had anything given up, you're naturally just going to do as much as you can for your kids. And I think I might be susceptible to that as well. Right? But what I'm saying is that made me hungry because I knew I was never going to get anything if I did it. If I had to work for it. So what I did was I knocked on people's doors. My dad helped me do this. We made flyers and I knocked on people's doors. I said, hey, do you like rolling your garbage can out, your dumpster, your bin, whatever? And obviously the answer is no for most people. Some people say, oh, I don't give a fuck, I don't care. But I'd charge them $10 a month. I'd roll your bin out on Friday and I roll it back on Saturday for $10 a month. And I think I had like 10 clients, maybe 12. No, I'm making $100 a month. And, you know, I think I also made cookies too, and my mom helped me make cookies, right? But what I'm saying is I had to learn to make my own shit. You know, I was never going to get it. And I think that suited and built me a lot, I think, is what it did. That's what I think it did, is what it did for me. But, you know, I see a lot of people who never think they can do anything. How can I do this? I can't do that. But I think I can do anything. You know, maybe I'm on a sales call and a client says, can you do this? My answer is always yes. 99% of the time, my answer is always yes, because maybe I wouldn't have done it before, but I can do it now. I can learn how to do it. I can do anything. And that's a mindset you need to have for success. If you think you can't do something, you've already fucking failed. All the people that thought that did something excellent or magnificent, they believed they could have done it. So you surrendering to your mind, saying, I can't do it, you've already lost. The man who says they can do something and the man who says they can't are both right. They're both right. But I think it's a decision you have to make, man. Because there's so much to grow from. And I think there's never going to be a time in somebody's life where something is impossible to change. I think you can improve from anything. Sometimes I'll see stories or I don't know, like, my life is over, I don't know what to do, it's over, I can't do anything, whatever, yada, whatever. But I think failure is a mindset. Giving up is a mindset. You can never truly fail. You can never truly be a loser. You're deciding to be. You're deciding to give up. It's your mindset. You are capable of fucking anything. Nothing is impossible, man. And I say this because, I'm walking in my backyard, but not even 6 months ago, man, I was probably at the bottom of my fucking life. I was. And I'm not afraid to admit that. I was probably the most sad and lost I had been in my entire life. And it was horrible. There was a very long period of mourning in my life before I decided I needed to do something. And there's been times where I thought, because I was so sad and upset, that I thought, okay, what's going to happen if I decide to kill myself? Am I going to feel better? Am I going to feel content? Am I going to be happy? What's going to happen if I did this? And I would, this was right after excuse me, I had just turned 18. And the adulthood was knocking at my door, right? And I realized I needed to do something. And, a couple weeks after, it might have been a couple days, I don't entirely remember. But, I was dating this girl for a very long time. I think I was dating her for nearly 2 years, right? And, I even thought I wanted to spend my life with her, right? And nobody knew this when it happened, but she took her life, right? And that affected me really hard. I never told anybody in my family. They know now. And that's another story I could have told. But I was struggling very hard. There's nights where I would just go outside in the dark, where it's very cold. Very cold. I'd wear my Carhartt jacket, so I wouldn't freeze, and I just sit and I'd look at the stars and think, I don't even know. Is it gonna, I don't even know what I thought. But I'd lie on my trampoline, I'd lie down and I'd look up at the stars, and I'd cry. I would. I'm not afraid to say that. And I thought, like, there's trains near my house. I thought, what would happen if I decided to go in front of those right now and die? What would happen? How would I feel? My throat is very dry.
how would I feel? Would I feel content? Would I feel happy? What's going to happen? But after a long time of that, I decided, nothing is going to change. The only thing that is going to change is me. And I distracted myself a lot. I played video games. I talked to girls online to maybe get over it. And I mostly did, right? But I knew I could have... I became so hungry for becoming more. Because I was disgusted by myself. I truly was. And, I was talking to the chick on the internet, trying to get over it. And, I did and whatever. And I was like, I hate being unproductive. I hate it. I want to work 24 hours a day. If it means I could be better than what I was, I don't want to do it. Because I hated myself. I really did fucking hate myself. I was disgusted by myself about how my emotions were controlled and affected by somebody. Because I was so weak. And you can say weakness is a strength. And I could say yes, right? But that, I think, was a pivotal point inside of me when she passed. And the next 3 months after that of mourning. Because I'd known her for so long. I think I had known her since I was 16 or 15. I'm 18 now. It was a big thing, I think. And I think it was horrible, but I'm glad it happened to me. And I think everything in life happens for a reason. And this was my reason to be excellent. I think this was my reason to be excellent. Because I never wanted to be in that position again. When somebody is weak and vulnerable, nobody wants to be there again. That's why, some people who you'll help in a vulnerable position, they'll learn to hate you. Because you're associated with their vulnerability. Regardless, right? And I don't know if that's applicable to everything, but I've heard it by a few times, by a few people in business, and I don't know if I've learned from that firsthand, but I figured I should mention it because I know it. But I think that was very pivotal for me. And I can say, obviously it was bad. And I don't know if it's going to infect me for only positives. Growing into other relationships afterwards, it's hard because I never wanted to be vulnerable or weak ever again. I don't want to be, and I think I'm going to have a hard time with that. And frankly, probably since then I've never cried. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'll say during that period, I probably cried 4 or 6 times every single week. I cried often, mostly every single night. And then when I wasn't, I was distracting myself. But I've only now, like, recently cried since yesterday. And I'll say why. It's because, you know, I mentioned my uncle, right? And he, you know, he's got a bunch of nice cars. He has a Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon, right? And it was running out of warranty, so, you know, my dad helps manage a lot of his assets and whatnot. But my dad asked me if I could help him, or if I wanted to tag along. But basically, we took that Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon down to Nevada, Las Vegas, and, you know, we got the new one. We hauled it, and where we were staying at, he has a secondary home in Nevada, right? And I was in his pool on a floaty, just thinking and pondering. Because I'll say this, there's this very successful guy, very old guy, who I know with, and I'm friends with, and I kind of see him as a grandpa, friend, mentor. And he tells me, you know, not enough to ponder. You know, he was on a cruise with all of his grandchildren. Or, yeah, I don't know exactly, but he's like, well, because, you know, obviously he paid for it, but he told everybody that we're going to sit on this deck and, you know, look into the sea, and we're going to ponder for an hour. You know, that's kind of what I'm doing right now, actually. But, you know, pondering, I think it's very important because it gives you the time and thought that you would have never have had within your day, because it had been consumed, your attention would have been consumed. Like a lot of attention is missed and taken throughout your life every single day, you know, whether it's social media, whether it's people, whether it's distractions. And you never get to dissect and think about and understand what is actually happening in your life. And I think that is a very essential thing that's happening, that needs to happen inside of your life. That's how you can understand what is happening. Every single Sunday, I don't do that much work because I dissect and understand what is actually happening in my company, what is happening in my business, my agency, what's helping, what's not helping, so I can regroup and understand for Monday. And I love Mondays. I really do. I love Mondays. Because then I can make the week mine. That's what I say. I posted on my story. I'm gonna say I'm gonna make the week my bitch. I'm gonna work hard. Right? I love Mondays because of that. Oh, it's a new door to opportunities and success. And I love that. I do. I really do. I think I've kind of forgotten where I was going with everything. Pondering is very important and beneficial for you. And I'm glad I've learned that lesson from that guy. I don't know if I should mention his name, but, you know, he's very old. I think he's maybe in his 70s or his 80s, but magnificent guy. Frankly, he's amazing. I love him. Just like how I love my uncle, and I love my family, and I have another lesson even too. That just came across my mind. When I was in this pool, oh, that's exactly what I was missing. I forgot about. When I was in this pool, I was thinking about all of this nice stuff my uncle has. This huge house, this mansion, this pool, this brand new G-Wagon with 6 fucking miles on it, right? Because it's brand new. And
And it just filled me with hunger. And I feel very fortunate to have that. So when I was in this pool and I was thinking about how hungry I was and how blessed I am to be surrounded by this success, to give me the expansion in my mind to know that this is possible and what is truly possible, what I can do. I sent a voice message to my uncle on iMessage, and I told him everything. I think it was like 2 or 3 minutes long. I didn't want it to be like awkward or long or anything, but he really did love that message, and he sent me a long paragraph afterwards, and it even showed it to my aunt, even though I maybe didn't want him to, because I was kind of vulnerable. But I basically just said, like, I'm in your pool right now, and I'm just floating around, and I'm looking at your house, and I really admire you and aspire to be like you. And I want to say thank you for being that, and also being successful as you are, so I can look at it and strive for more and get hungrier for every day. I basically just said, I'm really glad you're my uncle, and it's a blessing. And what he had told me is he told me this. He said, Boston. I can't remember entirely. Maybe I can pull it up and look at it here, but he told me, thank you, firstly, and I think you're definitely going to be successful, and I wish you all the success. But obviously it makes things easier, but it won't make you happy. And what will really make you happy, and this is what I took away from the message, is I'm getting kind of in my feels. But anyways, is what I took away from the message was, I'll tell you what he said. He says, everything means nothing without your family and faith. And I think one of the things I neglect is maybe a little bit of my family. And I truly love my family. I do. I love my family very much. And I think, my family is, we have family reunions for my dad's side of the family. And that is this Saturday, right? And I was probably not going to go to it. I was thinking about going to it, but I was like, okay, I'll go to it. My schedule's empty. If I don't have any sales calls those days, if I don't have any meetings those days, I'll go. Because I want to meet my family and I want to inspire them and help them. But, after I saw that message, I was like, okay, my uncle is telling me this, and he's a big figure for me, right? And I think that I was like, okay, I'm definitely going now. Family is important. So I am going. I'm going to leave this Thursday with one of my cousins who is within the same state as me. A lot of my family is up for me, the state above me, which is Idaho. Right, so I'm going to drive up with them. But yeah, that's kind of what I took away from it. But I don't even. What I wanted to say is, all this stuff is nice and all this money, but frankly, I don't care all too much about the money. What I care the most about is becoming the best possible version of myself. That's the most important thing to me, is I want to become the best possible version of myself. Because I'd seen myself at the very bottom, and I never wanted to be like that again. Never. I was, like I said, I was disgusted with myself being so weak. Like,
even thinking about, ending it even. I never wanted to be there again. It hurts. So, yeah, I wanted to I will become the best possible version of myself. And I think that starts, and I think my uncle is right. I was overlooking my family a little bit. And there's times where I decide to work instead of spend time with my family. And thinking literally as right now is that's not the best possible version of myself. The best possible version of myself is spending time with my family. Obviously, entirely, the best possible version of myself is also making lots of money and working. But he's also spending time with his family. And I think, leading back to when I first started this video, I said you need to imagine the best possible, and it's come circle, really. With what mentions of my uncle has said, I think I need to spend more time with my family. I do. Because that's the best possible version of myself. And, obviously I'm working on to it. And I've spoiled my dad with this smoker for his rec tech. It's like an attachment that goes onto it. Like you can make like cheeses and jerky with it. It's called a smoke box. Anyways, what I'm saying is, you just, the best possible version of myself would be sharing the fruits of my labor, and that's exactly what I did. So I think it's beneficial. But yeah. I think I've gone over a lot, pondered a lot, and I've taken away. Like, this is what I'm saying, everybody. Pondering is so important, because I never would have come to that thoughts, man. I never would have come to that thought without fucking pondering. My mind would have been so enveloped with work or other shit, whatever, man, that I never would have been able to make the self-discovery to improve myself. So I think that's very important, and it goes to show you that it's literally important. So and I haven't mentioned this, but I think praying is also really important. I don't know if anyone who's watching this is religious, but I've grown to become religious. When I started my business and my work, there was a long time where I wasn't winning at all. I wasn't. I probably had like 3 or 2 months where I'd made zero money. And I was working so much. I was only working every day. I never played video games. Some of my online friends who know me, I stopped playing video games with them because I was like, it's not gonna help me. It's useless. And I worked at school too. Like, there was some periods during school where I had no class, and I'd grab one of the school Chromebooks and I'd work on my business. And I'd seriously do that all during the whole class period. And I'd tell my friends, and they're like, how much money have you made? No, I've made nothing. I had nothing to show for it. I had literally nothing to show for it. I had nothing at all to show for it, actually.
And I think that's how, a lot where my faith came from is when I finally started to win and it made sense to me and I started making money and I was getting all these blessings. I was like, sure, I spent so long doing this, but surely it's coming from something. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, because leading up to that, I was really lost. Like during this business, I was trying so hard to become, successful and maybe make some money, help people, get clients, whatever, man. Like, I was doing it for so long and I had nothing to fucking show for it. So I pray, I'd say, please, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm trying my best. And just give me some guidance. And when I made that, and then I started to win, I could only express admiration and appreciation to God for making it real. Because I wanted it really bad, and I obviously I'm saying this a lot, but I had nothing to show for it. And when it was coming, I could only feel appreciation. And for now on, and what I've been doing is I'll pray a lot more often, and I will especially pray after I win. I'll go outside. I'll take my AirPods out. I'll take my phone. I'll put it aside. I'll put my phone on mute, so it's just me. And I'll sit down on the floor, and sometimes I'll close my eyes, sometimes I won't, and I'll just I'll talk to God like a friend, even if it's not like professional. I don't know, like the people say, dear Heavenly Father. I'll just be like, I'll just talk to them like a friend. Like, hey, I've been doing this. I've been doing that. I just did this today. Thank you. I appreciate the blessings that are being provided. And I think that is something that has helped me a lot. And I'm never going to let any blessings go unappreciated, because they're so valuable. There's this thing that Togi said, and you can make fun of Togi, but I think he's a very smart guy. And here's what he said. He said, if I give you a Lamborghini for free, you're probably not going to treat it very well, because it's free. I forgot exactly how he said, but I forgot exactly how he said it, but you have to appreciate everything and treat it like with value. I'm trying really hard to remember exactly how it goes. If I give you a Lamborghini for free, you're probably not going to treat it very well. You're not going to get service on it. You're not going to wash it. You're not going to do all these things. But if you work so hard every single day and you finally buy a Lamborghini, you're going to treat it way more valuable. So, exactly. Here's how it goes. So when God gives you these blessings, when God gives you this Lamborghini, right, per se, and you could say, if Togi gives you this Lamborghini, God gives you this Lamborghini, you have to treat it with respect. And you have to appreciate it. Because just like if God had given you it,
You have to appreciate it with every single ounce of your soul, man. Because who's going to want to give you more blessings? How is Togi going to want to give you more Lamborghinis if you're treating them like shit? He's never going to want to give you a Lamborghini again if you just treat it horribly. I think it's the same way with blessings. That's like I mentioned, that's how it goes. That's the message from Togi. And I think it's a very good message. I think it's a super good message, in my opinion. And there's another quote from David Goggins I'd like to share that I think is a very, very good reason to strive to be excellent. Is his biggest fear is when he dies and he goes up on that gate and they call his name, that they don't recognize him, right? Because when you're at the gate, they're recognizing the best possible version of yourself, and if that's not you, imagine that. Like, I think how he said it is like, you go to the gate, and they're like, okay, David Goggins, inspirational speaker, ultra marathon runner, and then imagine you're David Goggins and you know that. Imagine you were meant to be this, but you couldn't. You decided not to be. So I think when I die, now I'm at this gate, I want to be the best version of myself, and I don't want to be at that gate and say, I was supposed to be that? I was supposed to be a millionaire? I was supposed to be a family guy? I was supposed to be charitable? I don't even know, man. But what I'm saying is, I want to be the best possible version of myself. And I think what David Goggins said, it stuck with me very hard. A lot of these quotes have stuck with me. So I think they move you, man. Like, when you die, do you want to be told who you could have been? No, you want to be them. Like, imagine that, man. You're at the gate, and you decided to be comfortable your whole life, and you're like, I could have been this. Yes, you could have been this. You decided not to be this because you wanted to be comfortable. And comfort kills. I think comfort kills. And you need to strive for excellence, regardless of comfort. So I need to be a family guy. And also strive to be excellent in everything. My business, my body, and like lifting and stuff, right? And, mental and personal. Like, this is why I'm pondering right now. And I'm recording this. That's very beneficial. Like I said, I think that death moved me to be the best. I wanted to be the best because I never wanted to be the worst. I hated being the worst. It ate me up. I was disgusted by it. So, I mean, for this video, I think that's everything on my mind. And, I'm going to upload this, and I might have some gameplay over it or something. I don't know. Or it might just recording of me walking around my yard, and pretty much whatever it is. I hope you guys all take something away from this video.
And it's not productivity slob, like Alex Hormozy has said before. Like, if you're gonna consume all this information, it's useless unless you do something about it. Productivity slob. So don't watch this video for the sake of feeling like productive because you feel like you're improving yourself. You're not. You're improving yourself if you do something with this information and you actually make the change.
You can't build something without building. You can listen to the instructions, but it's not beneficial unless you build. But with that being said, if you watch this whole video, thank you. I'm proud of you. I wish you the utmost success wherever you are, whether you're at the bottom, whether you're 2 months in, whether you're 10 months in, whether you're 100 years in, or 10, I mean, wherever you are. I wish you the utmost success. I love you. I'd love to hear any comments. I reply to all of them. And goodbye. Thank you so much.